So our next guest is Valerie O'Brien, and here you are, thank you, a colleague of Imelda's at the university. I'm just going to tell you more.
Another rowdy girl, and I learned from the best. So thank you, Imelda. Okay, so I know what's behind me. What I've decided to do with the very brief time is somehow to encapsulate and to honour Imelda's contribution at the university, but also to social work in Ireland. Because I, like Imelda, I'm a social worker, but I'm also a systemic family therapist. And what I'm trying to do here, can you put it up here on the screen? Okay, I'm going to tell a story while I'm waiting. I was wondering about how to slant this, so I really love that word of slant. And I thought, how do I encapsulate Imelda's time at the university? And I think the word irreverence comes to mind. Irreverence in a context of great challenge. Because for those of you that are embedded in universities, they're strange institutions. And while we talk about academic freedom, sometimes it's very difficult to find that freedom. But Imelda's great line to me one day, she said, Valerie, do you know what a sexual intellectual is? And I thought, let me think about this. And I said, well, and I looked at her quizzically, she said, a sexual intellectual is a fucking know-all. Today about telling that while I'm speaking into a predominantly English audience in an English context, and I know British people don't like to curse, but we use language in a different way. And the other story that comes to mind about Imelda, she comes in one day to work and she is probably in her early 50s, mid-50s, and she's the most fantastic pair of leather trousers on her. And she's looking really nice, and Imelda, I love the leather pants. And she looks down and she looks at herself and she says, yeah, spent a fucking fortune to look cheap. So, I love this woman. Imelda has been my great friend, a tremendous mentor, and she continues very much in my professional life as mentor, along with Nullig, to the old but new systemic training program that is now embedded in UCD, which is the old Mater program. And as I said to my colleagues in UCD, why in God's name would we let go of the brand of the Mater that has been built up over all these years? But institutions are sometimes a little silly. So I would really like to honour Imelda for all the work that she has done in the university. She was the woman in Ireland that set up the first family therapy training program, the PhD program. Before it was common that there was professional doctorates or PhD programs, she set up, and there was 5 of us that started off on that journey. And that model has now been extended to so many other institutions. And in our own institution, she has not yet been honoured for that, but we're hoping to do something about that next year. So I think of Imelda as shaping practices, but also challenging discourses. And Imelda talks a lot about the stories lived and the stories told. And I think in that place, she really presents us with challenges. But what I love most about her, she is so irreverent to her own irreverence. Because for a woman that talks about both ends, she is very opinionated. And she tells you exactly what needs to happen. And that is the beauty of the woman. Because sometimes there's wisdom in there, and sometimes you have to be very cautious. Because her utterance knows no boundaries sometimes. But Gabriel kind of has already been mentioned this morning, but Gabriel was Imelda's great mentor, great friend, great supporter in an institution that was sometimes characterized by a lot of bitchiness. And I use the word bitchiness in terms of the story not told. Because of Imelda's brilliance, and also her roots in social work, which is predominantly a gender-based profession, it's mainly women, And again, I thought about that word bitchiness, and I thought, no, we have to take that word and we have to reclaim it and also rename it. Because Imelda has not been honoured for the work that she has done in relation to social work in Ireland. And I think that is something, it is a gap, because Imelda brought me into UCD, we worked, and Imelda was she was the main teacher of theoretical ideas, systemic ideas to social work in UCD for many years. She was challenging, she was provocative, and she is a woman that is not at all behind by saying social workers are well educated but they're badly trained. But I think social work is a profession in terms of that interface between all the multiple and complex contexts in which now the profession stands. We need the fifth province, and we need the work of Imelda and her colleagues, but also we need that challenge much more. And unfortunately, Marie Keenan can't be here today, but Imelda also brought and encouraged Marie Keenan into UCD. And this year, with my departure from social work programme into the family therapy programme, and Marie's soon to depart, for the first time in 25 years, that embedded systemic training that we provided in UCD it has become diluted. And that is very sad for the profession. So what I wanted, if I can move this, no, will you just move it there? So I thought of presenting some diamonds, and the one thing about the diamonds, you talk to Nolly, you talk to Phil, and you talk to Imelda, and they all have a different take about the diamonds, which in many ways fits with that complexity, but also the multiverse. I use the diamonds, I use the fifth province as a methodology in my own inquiry for my PhD into kinship care and family-state relationships. And I had the pleasure of being mentored by Imelda and supervised by Nolly. So you can imagine the head-wrecking place. But I've continued to use it a lot in my professional career. Oh, the computer over there, okay. Just a multiverse, screen here, screen here, screen here. And we talk today about everybody, as if everybody knows Imelda's work and the work of the fifth province. But I think if we were to go around here today and ask people, they would all perhaps mention different things. What is it that sticks out? So for me, these are some of the ideas that stick out. And I'm not going to go into it, but I'm going to focus a little bit on the word advocacy, because I think within social work, Imelda has really given us a lens that in fact could help the profession, but also help the communities that social work serves to, is it coming up yet? Well, I think of Imelda as inspiring, but also equally challenging. Because just when you think you have something, she'll push it. And you're thinking, there's something in there that I really haven't seen. And that takes bravery, but it takes love. Because I think Imelda gets away with a lot of what she says, because she's so warm and empathetic and so loving. So thank you, Imelda. And I think Imelda, she supports and cares, but her propelling of change, it comes because she perturbs us. She leaves us with that sort of unfamiliar, uncomfortable, but it's always then followed by the great hug. But thinking of how Imelda's positioning really offers us a lens, because so many of our lives, and for a long time it was predominantly social work that held this care and control, and I think for systemic psychotherapists, particularly though embedded in state institutions or being commissioned or working on behalf, more and more we have to try and find the space within which we can navigate really complex and populous terrains. And to that end, I think of Imelda's work and the work of the fifth province in enabling us to take a position and perspective that will let us walk through the quadrants. And it's not an easy thing to do. Again, with the great influence of Batesonian thought and the different types of diamonds, and I'm sure Imelda, Nollaig and Phil are now looking at those diamonds and that's not exactly how I would draw. What do you mean by that? So I can already hear the conversations that I'm going to have with Imelda. And I talked last night about the dominant family forms, because never in our society have we talked so much about plurality and multiple, and yet that dominant singular way of viewing the world is ever present. And I think it's one of the great threats. So the work of Imelda, I think, is going to go forward. And I spoke to a lot of my supervisees about because I use the fifth province, my variation of it, in my work. And these are some of the comments that they mentioned, and these are only a glimpse. I have no great photos, but I think in it lies that it enables us to see what we're involved in, obtain a view of the parts of the system that are pushing us in a certain direction, and so forth. Are we going? Oh, that was too fast? Is it gone? So I really want to commend you, Imelda, for your radical voice. Your radical voice in the context of love. And I look forward to hearing many more utterances and directions and reflections and being pushed by you. Thank you.